Vita yao na serikali ni gani? Watu wakitaka kuuda vyama, waude vyama vile watu wanataka. Hata zingine ambaye majina yao tunashindwa kutanja. Tumekuwa tukichagua viongozi wetu sio kulingana na misingi ya chama, lakini wale viongozi ambao watatufanyia kazi.
Laikipia East Member of Parliament Mwangi Kionjori accuses Rigathi Gachagua of plotting to dismantle political parties in the Mount Kenya region.
Ni nini hasa kiliua ndugu yetu ambaye hapo awali hakuwa mgonjwa?
And Catholic Church demands answers in the mysterious death of Father John Maina during his burial at Tubor Hills Spiritual Center in Nyahururu. Right, remember that you can watch this program broadcast live on Facebook and as well as on YouTube, and you can as well send us your feedback through our SMS line, that is 23059. My name is Martin Macharia, sign language interpreter is Laura Mondi, and EBN Prime Edition starts now. Now, prominent Kenyan human rights activist Boniface Mwangi has been released by Tanzanian authorities, ending a 5-day detention that sparked regional concern and diplomatic intervention. Mwangi was picked up at Kenya-Tanzania border in Kwale County shortly after his release and was subsequently transported to Moi International Airport in Mombasa. Witnesses at the airport reported that he appeared physically weak and was wheeled through the check-in area before being airlifted to Nairobi for further medical attention. According to Mwangi, he was subjected to torture during his detention with visible signs of injury, fueling calls for a thorough medical examination and investigation into his treatment while in custody. The release of Mwangi followed the Prime Cabinet Secretary and Foreign Affairs Cabinet Secretary, that is Musalia Mudavadi, described as high-level engagement between the Kenyan and Tanzanian governments.
Just happy to be back home. I have gone through very 4 dark days. I have been tortured very badly. I can barely walk. But I'm very concerned about Agatha because we were tortured together and they did very horrible things to us. So I hope that Agatha is safe. So wherever Agatha is, she should know that you're praying for her and for her safety. And thank you to everyone who spoke, who stood with us. The solidarity wasn't in vain.
Bonnie was dropped in Horohoro border post, and he found his way up to Lunga Lunga and got transport, and Kelef picked him up. I called Kelef and he picked.
Torture is against the law. Na jambo jingine, Tanzania bado hawajasema wamefanya dhambi gani. Hata kushikwa kwa ndani na kupigwa na kukaa siku 3 umefungwa uso na pingu, anakwenda choni hivyo hivyo, kula hawezi kwa sababu akienda choni maskari wanaosimamia pale. Hii si haki.
We have been engaging through diplomatic channels, and we've engaged with the Tanzanian authorities, including very early today, and the information I have is that he has been released. So we believe that in good time there'll be communication, including from himself, after he has found an opportunity to talk. So I'm confident and I've been assured that he has been released. I'm not talking anymore about his release being imminent. I'm talking of it having been.
Right, moving on, the Catholic Church and the family of the late Father John Maina Ndegwa are calling for a thorough investigation into the tragic and mysterious circumstances surrounding his death. Father Maina, who served as a parish priest at St. Louis Gwamiti Parish in Nyahururu, passed away on May 15th of 2025 after being rushed to St. Joseph's Hospital for emergency treatment. According to reports, the priest was found in distress along the Nakuru-Nairobi highway near Kikopey in Gilgil. A good Samaritan spotted him and rushed him to the hospital, but despite efforts to save him, he later succumbed to his condition. The exact cause of nature of the events leading to his collapse remains unclear. Today, hundreds of mourners gathered at Tubor Hills Spiritual Center in Nyahururu to pay their final respects to the beloved priest. The emotional funeral service was presided over by Bishop Joseph Ndembumbatia of the Nyahururu Diocese. Clergy parishioners and local leaders were in attendance, many visibly shaken by the sudden loss.
Wiki iliyopita siku ya Alhamisi, hivyo kutoka wakati alituacha ni wiki mzima. Kwa ukweli mpaka sasa hatujajua kiini cha vile yeye alituacha. Lakini kwa sababu serikali inachunguza hayo mambo, hivi karibuni tutaambiwa ni nini hasa kiliua ndugu yetu ambaye hapo awali hakuwa mgonjwa. Kwetu sisi siku hii ya leo, kwa imani kuu, imani kwa Mungu, tunamzidikisha ndugu yetu akirudi kwa Baba. Kwa hivyo ibada yetu tunatoa kwa imani. Imani kwa Mungu ambaye alituumba, imani kwa Mungu ambaye alimuumba ndugu yetu Padre John.
Right, moving on to matters politics. Deputy President Kithure Kindiki has affirmed the government's firm stance against any recurrence of election-related violence in the country, vowing that chaos experienced during the 2007 post-election period will never be allowed to happen again. Speaking during an empowerment forum for small-scale traders in Etago South, Ogirango, Kisii County, the Deputy President stressed the importance of national unity and stability, stating that the government is committed to protecting peace and at all costs. Now, Kindiki urged Kenyans to embrace political tolerance and emphasize the political differences should not breed hostility among citizens. He reiterated that every Kenyan has the right to express their views freely as enshrined in the Constitution. The Deputy President also called on citizens to refrain from engaging in early political campaigns and instead focus on supporting the government's ongoing development initiatives aimed at improving the livelihoods of all Kenyans.
Ule ako na maoni tofauti atoe. Aseme akubaliini na hii program ama ile, lakini mambo ya uchochezi, mambo ya kutabiri vita, mambo ya kuchemsha wananchi wachukiane wenyewe kwa wenyewe kwa misingi ya kikabila, kwa misingi ya dini. Nchi ya Kenya ilipata matatizo makubwa siku ile kulikuwa na machafuko ya kisiasa. Na tumesema never again. Hatutakubali nchi yetu tena ndugu ainue silaha kupiga ndugu mwingine Mkenya mwenzake ati kwa sababu ya kabila yake, ati kwa sababu ya dini. We will protect the security, stability and the unity of Kenya at all costs. Hii mambo ya tofauti ya siasa hiyo ni sawa sawa. We have no problem. Hata wale wanaunda vyama ni sawa. We have no problem. But please, I beg you, fellow Kenyans, brothers and sisters, the unity of our country, the security of our people, wherever they are, is our first and most important duty as a generation. So mimi nataka niseme hivi. Nataka niseme kwa heshima. Tunaomba kwa heshima. Itakuwa hatari kwetu, kwa nchi yetu, tukijiweka katika campaign za mapema. Tungojea tu kidogo, siku ya campaign itafika. Kwa sasa tulize boli, tushughulikie, tushindane mashindano ya kutafutia Wakisii barabara na stima na masoko na kazi ya mitandao ya vijana. Wakati wa campaign there is no problem, itafika. Mimi nitafika hapa, sitakuwa na hii blazer, hii koti. Nitakuwa na t-shirt na kofia kwa sababu ni wakati ya campaign. Si namna hiyo? Lakini kwa sasa tunaomba kwa heshima tuweke mambo ya wananchi mbele, tushughulikie uchumi wetu, tupendane, tuwe na umoja, na hata wale wako na maoni tofauti ya kisiasa ni haki yao, lakini tusihujumu umoja na udhabiti wa taifa letu la Kenya. We are one country, one people, and Kenya is our home.
Right, still matters politics. Former Prime Minister Raila Odinga has called for the strengthening of the Kenyan Senate, urging that it be granted proper powers and responsibilities to effectively execute its mandate, similar to the role of the United States Senate. This call came during a meeting with senators at the Senate building in Nairobi, where Odinga discussed the importance of reinforcing the Senate's role in the Kenyan legislative system. In his address, Odinga emphasized the need to empower the Senate with enhanced constitutional powers, particularly in areas such as budgetary matters and national policy formulation. Currently, the Kenyan Senate's role is largely advisory, with limited authority in comparison to the National Assembly, especially when it comes to making decisions on the national budget and other critical issues affecting the country's governance. The current arrangement, where the Senate has limited powers, has often led to calls from various political figures and citizens for reforms to enhance its effectiveness. Odinga's remarks are likely to reignite debates on the need for constitutional amendments that would redefine the role of powers of the Senate, ensuring it serves as a robust check and balance to the National Assembly.
What's important is to have a governance structure that works. Parliament is one of the three institutions of governance in our country. The executive, the legislature, the executive, the judiciary, and the others. Parliament represents the people, and Parliament makes the laws of the country. And Parliament also allocates resources in our country under the new constitutional dispensation. Senate need to play its role, just as the National Assembly also has a role to play. You know, we have got countries with a similar constitutional structure, and it works very well. So we'd like to see our Senate work just like the Senate of the United States of America is working, and give it proper powers and responsibilities. Yes. The same thing. So the National Assembly has also its sphere. And we say the National Assembly should do its work. And together, both National Assembly and the Senate form the Parliament. And Parliament's role is to represent, to legislate, and to oversight. The three functions are very important. The executive uses the laws that are passed by Parliament to govern the country, and judiciary interprets it. This is how we want it to be. I have shared with the senators here a historical journey from my perspective, where we come from as a country.
All right, moving on. Just a day after a section of leaders from the Ukambani region met with President William Ruto at State House Nairobi, political tensions have begun to rise in the region, with some local leaders strongly criticizing the move. Speaking to the press, Machakos Deputy Governor Francis Mwangangi dismissed the meeting as a self-serving engagement that does not reflect the collective interest or representation of the Kamba community. Mwangangi accused the leaders who attended the State House meeting of prioritizing their personal ambitions over the welfare of the people they claim they to represent. He further argued that the visit should not be interpreted as a formal representation of the Kamba community in government affairs, and called on President William Ruto to engage with what he termed as real leaders of the Ukambani region if he is truly committed to bringing development to the area.
Hakuna mtu hataki maendeleo, lakini maendeleo ipatikani Ikuru. Maendeleo bajeti, watu wanazunguka wakichukua maoni ya raia. Na hiyo mambo yote inatengenezwa na treasury na inaenda bungeni. Ikipitishwa inakuwa implemented. There is nowhere State House ina come in. So wale watu wanaenda pale, hiyo tumejua ni political brokers. Wanafanyanga hivyo. Ngojea ahead of 2027, you will see so many so many political brokers going there na hakuna kitu watafanya. It's a waste of time. Waste of time, completely waste of time. Hao watu wako hapo ukiwaangalia one by one, who has meant impact, which impact as either politically, development wise kwenda kuzungumzia. So in this case, si ati kuna watu hawataki maendeleo. We are just saying before elections, Kenya Kwanza walitembea kila pale wakapewa maoni na wananchi. Sasa wako office, si wa implement what they were given. We don't need people to go and kneel down and ndio maendeleo ipatikane. Hiyo ni siasa. Na hiyo ni kuandamine kinara wa Wiper ambaye tunamjua kama rais mtarajiwa. Somebody is trying to cook political games. Ndio waende huko watu wakuja hapa na pesa na mangunia thinking they will undermine. We know all those things. We are used. Games ni zile. Kwa hivyo si ati ni maendeleo. Tunajua hii ni siasa and we know how to deal with politics. Angalia zile fedha zinaenda kwa ungatuzi kama CDF, serikali kuu tunaona vile UDA na ODM wameshikana mkono wanataka kutoa. Wanasema hiyo fedha iende kupitia kwa gavana na tunajua serikali kuu iko na majukumu yake. CDF haikuji kufanya ile kazi inafanywa na fedha za county. CDF inakuja kufanya yale majukumu ya serikali kuu ya kitaifa. Na hiyo fedha ikitoka imeenda. Kwa hivyo hakuna haja ya watu kuanza kwenda pale.
All right, moving on. Tensions gripped Kimende area in Lari constituency after enraged residents set ablaze a vehicle believed to have been used in a livestock theft incident. The dramatic event unfolded after locals intercepted the vehicle and successfully rescued the stolen cattle. Now, according to eyewitnesses, the suspects fled the scene after the mob descended on the vehicle, setting it on fire in protest. The two suspects believed to be behind the theft managed to escape and remain at large. Residents expressed their growing frustration with the rising cases of livestock theft, which they say have become increasingly frequent and devastating for the local pastoralist community. They decried the slow response by authorities and called on the government to intensify patrols and take tougher action against perpetrators.
Tumeshuguza na registration na inatuambia mwenye hii gari. Hao watu wakati walitoroka, kuna document waliacha kwa gari. Na ile document waliacha kwa gari iko na jina na iko na telephone number. Na hiyo jina kwa hiyo document na hiyo telephone number ni sawa sababa na registration ya hii gari. Kwa hivyo registration na lobby inasema hii gari ni ya mtu fulani. Document ile save kwa gari inasema hii document ni ya mtu fulani. Na hii ni sawa. Kwa hivyo ni nini kingine tunataka kufuata ati tujue ni nani?
Security hawawezi wakafaulu kama hawatashirikiana na wananchi. Sisi wenyewe ni vizuri, sisi tumejitolea. Hata kwetu sasa ndio maana tunashika wezi. Sisi tunakuanga nje na tumejipanga. Na hatutangazi, sisi tunajua vile tumejipanga. Wakikubali sasa wao wanatujua na tuwe tunashikana na wao. Vile tu ukitokea wizi tunawapigia simu na tunawaamusha wakuje tufanye patrol na wao, tufanye kazi na wao. Hapa wizi utaisha. Wakikubali. Inaonekana tu hawana ile hali ya kufanya hiyo kazi kwa sababu wao ndio wametumwa hapa Kimende kwetu. Wangekuwa tayari wamefanya hiyo mpango, tushirikiane nao na tutafaulu.
Kuna kitu kimoja nataka kusema.
Ilisulia watu wakapiga ndulu, watu wakatokea wakakuja hapa tukatoa hiyo ng'ombe.
Gari ilikuwa na ng'ombe ngapi?
Ilikuwa na ng'ombe 2.
Right, moving on. Lendrix Wasto Foundation has issued a stern warning to politicians against inciting the public and politicizing donor-funded development projects aimed at uplifting communities. Now, this comes amid growing concerns that some leaders are using community-based initiatives as platforms for political gain and division. Speaking during a free medical camp organized by the foundation in Webuye West constituency, Chairperson Isaac Wajekeche expressed his disappointment at the actions of certain politicians who he claims are spreading misinformation and creating unnecessary tension among residents. Now, these sentiments were echoed by Moses Wamoto, an official with the foundation, who urged political leaders to support and collaborate with organizations working to improve the lives of citizens rather than sabotaging their efforts. Beneficiaries of the free medical outreach expressed their gratitude, saying the initiative had given them access to services they otherwise could not afford. Many residents admitted that financial challenges often prevent them from seeking medical attention and welcomed more such interventions.
Leo tuko hapa Kituni, Mesihu Ward. Tumeleta matibabu hapa kwa wale wagonjwa ambao hawajiwezi, na sababu yetu kubwa kufika hapa ni kwa sababu madawa hazipo katika zile facilities za serikali, na hiyo imekuwa pigo kubwa sana kwa wakazi wa hapa kuweza kufikia kwa zile facilities kupata matibabu. Hadi sasa tumeweza kuattend kwa zile surgical cases, almost 60 surgical cases ambazo zimekuwa referred tangu tuanze hii mambo ya surgical na medical camps.
Tunaendelea kuwahimiza wananchi kwamba wajisajili katika huu mpango wa serikali wa SHA, kwa sababu huu mpango umeweza kusaidia sana wananchi. So we are encouraging them to register ili waweze kupata matibabu katika hizi facilities zetu. Na foundation hii ya Bwana Waswa pia imeweza kusaidia katika kutoa madawa kwa hawa wagonjwa ambao tunawapata hapa mashinani.
Nakuwa na shida ya kufura mguu, vidole, na sikijua ni ugonjwa gani. Sasa ndio sababu nimekuja, nimesikia mtu, nikakuja nitibiwe matibabu ambaye Lendrix ametusaidia ya bure. Nimeshughulikiwa, naambiwa niende nilazwe Lugulu hospital, alafu nikapasuliwe ufimbe yenye iko kwa mguu.
Lakini siku ya leo tumeona, tulisikia mtu tukasema tumefurahia hii huduma ili tukuje tuhudumiwe. Tumekaa kwa nyumba muda mrefu na hakuna matibabu, si kwa ajili ya pesa, na niko na shida ya uvimbe, niko na shida ya mguu. Nimekaa kwa nyumba hata sioni matibabu, lakini siku ya leo nimekimbilia matibabu ili nikakuje katibiwa.
Walisema Waswa, nikasema hata Mungu asaidie uwe mapema niende.
Nimepata madawa na najua ya kwamba nitapona. Ya hospitali huku ukienda iko shida mingi sana, hata laini kubwa. Sasa sisi kama wazee tunaweza kuanguka kwa laini, lakini nimeona hapa tumeshughulikiwa kwa haraka sana.
Right, moving on to across the borders now. A diplomatic row erupted during a high-level meeting at the White House after former U.S. President Donald Trump sharply criticized South African President Cyril Ramaphosa of alleged human rights abuses against white farmers in South Africa. The contentious exchange took place unexpectedly during what was meant to be a meeting focused on strengthening economic ties between the two nations. Trump, addressing the media from the Oval Office, accused the South African government of allowing farm seizures and turning a blind eye to violence allegedly targeting white farmers. He claimed that white landowners, particularly those from the Afrikaner community, were being systematically depossessed and murdered in what he characterized as racially motivated attacks. The former U.S. president presented what he described as evidence to support his claims, including video footage, news articles, and images of graves purported to belong to slain white farmers. President Ramaphosa, caught off guard by the unexpected accusations, swiftly dismissed the allegations, firmly stating that South Africa, like many countries, grapple with widespread crime that affects all communities, particularly poor black South Africans, more than any other demographic.
I would say if there was Afrikaner farmer genocide, I can bet you these three gentlemen would not be here, including my Minister of Agriculture. He would not be with me. So it'll take him President Trump listening to their stories, to their perspective? That is the answer to your question.
But, Mr. President, I must say that we have, wait. We have thousands of stories talking about it. Sure. And we have documentaries, we have news stories, and that. Is Natalie here, somebody here to turn that? I could show you a couple of things, and it has to be responded to.
Yeah, sure.
Let me see the articles, please, if you would, and turn the lights down, and just put this on, it's right behind you. Johan.
There's nothing this parliament can do. With or without you, people are going to occupy land.
These are articles over the last few days. Death of people. Death. Horrible death.
The issue of whether what he terms as genocide can be equated to the struggle. And of course it cannot, because there is just no genocide in South Africa. And of course, it is an issue of how one looks.
Right, it is exactly 34 minutes past the top of the hour. That's going to wrap up our bulletin here at EBN Prime Edition. Do have yourself a good night. My name is Martin Macharia. Many thanks for, of course, keeping us company here on the broadcast. Our sign language interpreter has been Laura Omond. Let's meet again tomorrow morning on The Drifts.